Hey guys, it's Brian with Frostbite Off-Road. We're back in the garage with our JL, and today it won't start. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try to fix that. So what happens with these is that little battery that you have in these Jeeps with the electric stop-start tends to die. When it dies, it takes the big battery with it. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we're going to fix that. So what we did is we went ahead and got an Odyssey performance battery to replace the main battery there. This one's a pretty nice one. This is going to be an H7. I do have the max tow package, so my Jeep came with an H7 from the factory. If you guys have a non-tow package one, it'll come with an H6. You can modify the tray to fit this, and it is a pretty nice upgrade. So this one has 850 cold crank amps, and I think it's going to be a really nice upgrade compared to that factory battery. They also say these last 8 to 10 years, where the factory one, for me, only lasted 4 and about 60,000 miles. So what we're going to do is we are going to replace our main battery in the Jeep, but we're also going to get rid of our auxiliary battery. So there is an easy way to go ahead and bypass that, kind of trick the Jeep into thinking that that battery is still there and still functioning, but we're actually going to eliminate it. I don't use the stop-start feature in my Jeep, so it's not a big deal. You can also get a taser and change that so it's off permanently, but I always hop in, just push the button and go. Comes natural. I'm used to it with this Jeep by now. So what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the little battery. If you guys don't want to do that, let's take a look at what you need to go ahead and replace that one. So it's going to be an Aux 14 is the model number on this, and this one's a Super Start. And you can pick these up at any O'Reilly's auto parts store. It's under 150 with a core deposit. If you return the core, it's about 120, 130. So not too bad, but I do want to go ahead and eliminate this. I have heard a lot of people having troubles with this, and luckily mine waited a long time to go out, and it was in the garage when it did die. So that was pretty lucky. We weren't out in the woods somewhere camping. That would have been horrible. So we're going to eliminate this little guy. If you do want to replace this though, it's pretty easy. All you do is rip that front passenger fender off, and then kind of up against the firewall on that side there is a little battery tray. It's 3 bolts. You pull it down, no big deal. If you are going to do that though, you do want to make sure you've got extra fender clips. And then this battery also doesn't come with the terminal studs. You'll need to swap them over from the Mopar setup, and that does take an E6. It's kind of a female torque socket. I'll put links for all this down below if you guys are going to swap out this battery. But we're going to go ahead and try to eliminate this. So let's go ahead, we'll do the wiring for doing that, pull the fuse that we need to pull, and then get our new battery in. Alright, now we got the hood up on the Jeep. Let's go ahead and take a look what we need to do. So one of the things we need to do to go ahead and tell the computer that we're bypassing this, and so it doesn't get any lights on your dash, is to go ahead and pull fuse 42. So we're going to head on over to our fuse box here. We'll pull that real quick. A little 10 amp fuse, a little red one. Pull that out, and that'll go ahead and tell the Jeep that everything's fine, but we will have disconnected the auxiliary battery out of the loop here. So what we're going to do, we'll pull that, and then we need to go ahead and pull the negative cable for the auxiliary battery down below off of the battery terminal up here at the main negative. So let's go ahead, we'll pull that fuse. We'll go ahead and pull that negative cable for the auxiliary battery, and then we're going to wrap that up real good. You also want to make sure when we're swapping out the batteries that we don't touch the leads on here. It can go ahead and pop fuses and cause a big headache. So you could wrap those with a shop rag, throw an old sock, something like that over it. So let's go ahead, pull that fuse, and then we'll get the battery disconnected. Okay, so we're over here on the passenger side of the Jeep where the battery is. This is going to be our fuse panel here. So you go ahead and you squeeze these on both sides, and this will slide right up. And this is going to have the diagram for the fuses. So the one we want is going to be 42. So right here, F42. And see, it's for the ESS, that's the electronic start stop. Right there. So that's the one we're going to pull. So you head over here to your diagram, and you go ahead and see F22 is going to be right there. Now this is orientated like this inside the Jeep. So we're going to come over here, you'll see these 3 gray ones, and then you see this brown and gray one here. It's actually right between here. Let's go ahead and show you right there. So we're going to go ahead and pull that guy out, and that'll tell the computer to just go ahead and keep operating as normal, and we won't get any lights, and then we can go ahead and successfully bypass that auxiliary battery. Guys, like I said, if you don't want to do that and you just want to replace that battery, you don't have to do any of this part. I just want to eliminate that battery so it's not a problem in the future. A lot of people have done it online and have had really good success. and we got that good Odyssey battery going in there, so that we should be all set on the main battery. All right, so let's go ahead, we'll pull that fuse real quick, and then we'll take a look at the negative terminal. Go ahead and show you, we pulled that guy out, F42. We do have an area right here for spares in the back there. That's just a little spare spot there for you. So let's go ahead, we'll pop the cover back on this, and then we'll start messing with the battery. All right, now that we got the fuse box all closed back up, we're gonna head on over to the battery. We're gonna be working over at the negative terminal. So one thing to note, they did switch this in the 2021 models. So if you have that newer model, you're actually gonna have the wires reversed. So you do wanna use the smaller negative cable coming off the battery. On mine, since I do have a 2018, it's gonna be on the post over here, off towards the passenger side of the vehicle. It's this thinner one. So you can tell the main one going, the main ground going to the firewall is going to be this thicker one. It's on this L-shaped bracket with the post, so that makes taking this off really easy. If you do have that 21 or newer, these will be reversed. This is going to be my Warren winch cable, so we'll go negative for that. So we'll go ahead and put that back on. So we want to pull this off, and we want to wrap it up real good. That way it doesn't touch anything. So what we're going to do is probably put some heat shrink on that, and then we'll tuck it down below here and zip tie it. That way it's out of the way and not a big problem. So the cool thing about deleting it this way, you can go ahead and put it back to factory whenever you want. I am outside of warranty, but if you guys aren't and you need to go in for service, you just pop that 10 amp fuse back in that F42 spot, and you can connect this right back up, and you're good to go again. So this is pretty easy. This is a pretty cool way to do this. So let's go ahead, we'll get this guy pulled off with a 13 millimeter, get it taped up, zip tied up out of the way, and then we'll swap our new battery in. Okay, now that we went ahead and tucked that out of the way nicely, I just wrapped it up real good as you guys saw and zip tied it. Kind of tucked it back on itself. It's out of the way. We don't have to worry about it. Let's go ahead and grab a 10 millimeter. Let's pull off our leads on our battery here. And like I said, you want to make sure those don't touch anything, so you wrap them up if you need to. And then let's get that new battery in here. Now, one thing to note with the positive on the Jeeps here is it does have a little retaining clip in the back. It's a black little plastic clip, and it does clip on that outside edge of the battery. They are kind of hard to get off. If you do just start prying on this and it's not coming off, that's why. They do break a lot of the times. We'll try to get it off without breaking it, but we'll see. All right, so it looks like the best way to do this is to go ahead and just pull the whole battery up out of the Jeep. Now that we've got it disconnected there, it'll be pretty easy. We just pull this right out. The one thing to know about these new batteries, unlike the old Jeeps where it had kind of had the clamp style with J-hooks and when you had to tighten them down on both sides, this actually has a little track system. So on the driver's side and towards the firewall, you kind of wedge the battery underneath there, and then on this side, on the passenger side, down in there, there's a little clamp that holds it down. That's going to be a 10 millimeter. We got to pull that out. Unfortunately, my LasFit switch panel module is right in the way, so we're going to pull that real quick, pull that little clamp, and then we should be able to pull this all out, and I should be able to get that black clip off a lot easier with it outside the Jeep. All right, let's go ahead and do that. As you can see, that clamp's kind of down in there pretty far. We're going to go ahead and grab a big extension, loosen it up, and we should be able to pull that battery right out. Those aren't light, so if you need an extra hand, make sure you grab one. So I wanted to tell you guys about that tray in here. If you do have the non-tow package one, like I said, they come with a smaller H6 battery. There's a simple way to make it fit into this tray. I'll show you. So that little section right there on your non-max tow is going to have a little tab there that helps retain the battery, the smaller battery. That pops right out. So if you go ahead and pop that right out, you guys can go ahead and fit that larger H7 battery, and it is quite a bit of an upgrade. It's not much different in price either, so it's definitely worth it. All right, now that we went ahead and got everything out here, let's go ahead and swap that black clip on over to the Odyssey battery if it'll work. Get our Odyssey battery in here and hooked up, and then we're all good to go. All right, so if you go ahead and take a look, this is that black clip I was telling you about. We're just gonna get it under there, pry that guy off. Okay, so we're over at the bench here. We're swapping over that positive terminal here. So it does look like it doesn't quite clip all the way here on the Odyssey battery, but this plastic piece does keep it squared up pretty nice. We did have to go ahead and tap this on a little bit to get this down on this post here. We'll go ahead and tighten this up and we can throw it in the Jeep. Okay guys, that was a little bit of a workout. That does come in around 55 pounds, so it is pretty heavy. If you need a hand, go ahead and grab a buddy to help you out. So we did get it in there. One thing there is to know is it is pretty large front to back. So what you want to do is make sure you get it in there and get it seated all the way. Slide it into that rear notch and then push it over to the driver's side. Make sure it's underneath the notch on that side, and then we can go ahead and throw our clamp back in. It is pretty snug. I do have a lot of winch cables and all my auxiliary lights and my last fit set up here. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get this all tucked back in, and I'll show you what it looks like. But so far, this is a pretty easy mod, guys, and we'll see if the Jeep fires right up. All right, here we go. All right, guys, now that we had it all clamped down, we got our cover back on here, we can go ahead and hook our terminals back up and fire up the Jeep. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so she fired right up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the dash here. It looked like the bolts jumped right up to 14. Went from 8 all the way back up to 14 where it was. So I think we're all set. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay guys, worked great. Fired right up. We don't have any warning lights anymore like we did before. Voltage is charging up at 14 and we should be all set. Don't have any warning lights about the auxiliary battery being disconnected. So this was a success. All right guys, if you got anything out of this, make sure you like down below. Thanks. All right guys, that's gonna do it for swapping out my battery and deleting the auxiliary battery in my Jeep here. Hopefully this eliminates some problems with that auxiliary battery down below. We don't have any more trouble. I'll be able to use my remote start again, hopefully, and then we'll go ahead and check the dash after this, make sure all those lights went away, make sure we're running good voltage. This new Odyssey battery should give us years of service, and I'm pretty confident with this new setup. I like how easy it was to go ahead and bypass that. If you guys like this, go ahead and leave a comment down below, like the video, and subscribe if you're not, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks guys.